Hey guys, so I've dabbled in almost every imaginable hobby or interest over the decades, and this one is one of the most amazing tricks I've ever seen for auto detailing. The man who showed me this had been auto detailing cars for over 50 years, and he's long since retired. But I'm going to show you this. It takes just a matter of minutes to restore the trim of your car to looking very old, to looking showroom new. So let's go to the driveway and I'll show you how to do this in just a matter of minutes. So guys, I'm going to tape half of this off so you can easily compare the before and after, and I'll try to take a very clear thumbnail so you can see it when you click on the video. But we want to show the before and after and how you can really restore this to showroom condition. Now I want to give you some safety tips first. This does create a lot of heat depending on what device you're using. So just remember, you want to have this fan or a fan circulating some air so it's blowing it away from your face. You don't want to do this inside. Make sure you don't do this near any gasoline containers or the gas tank of the vehicle you're doing. If it has plastic trim close to it, don't do it. But you're going to need a fan for that. You're going to need some gloves to protect your hands from the heat because it can get quite hot. You want a spray bottle with water in it just in case something goes wrong. And also, in case of the worst case scenario, you want a fire extinguisher. Also, you want a piece of metal shielding to protect your automobile's paint. This is just a piece of aluminum I had around the garage that I used in a gutter system. So any kind of metal like that. Some safety glasses. These are specifically made for people that wear prescription glasses that fits over there, or just a pair of standard safety glasses. And the other thing is if you want to use heat, you can use something like a kitchen torch or even a flame torch like this, but I would only recommend using this type of flame once you become very experienced in doing this. What I would recommend the first time you try this is a heat gun that has two settings. So just make sure whatever type of heat gun, it has a low and a high setting on it. Now you want to make sure this is completely dry. So you don't want to wash this beforehand or have anything like Armor All or any Meguiar's or anything like that on it. You want it to be completely dry. You want to wipe it down, and you also want to spray it out. There's a few leaves and things like that in there. So just take you some compressed air, leaf blower, whatever you got, and make sure you clean out anything like that around the edges. Now the way we're going to use this little shield, this aluminum shield, is I'm going to place it like that, and I'll just tape it into place where it won't move, and I don't have to worry about damaging the paint of the vehicle. But we don't want to go overboard with it, so just make sure that you have some way of protecting your paint. Put the tape in place. You can also use metallic tape like this right here. They call it, I guess it's furnace tape or ductwork tape, and you can use some of that around there as well. But you have to remember, this is super sticky. You might want to use something like painter's tape, maybe 2 or 3 layers of it to protect your paint. So whatever you're using, we're just trying to keep the paint from getting overheated. We want to direct the heat only on to the plastic trim. So I've put 3 layers of the painter's tape all around the edges, and I've put our aluminum shield here because I don't want to do any damage to this paint. This is something that's still in pretty good shape, so I'm just trying to protect everything, and we're going to work our way across. So the key to doing this is to remember patience and do it quite slowly. So one of the key things you can use to make sure you do this without damaging your plastics is you want to aim between 180 to 220 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, as you can see, it's pretty mild out today and the sun is not out, but on a warm day it works even better. So you just want to make sure you keep it under 260 degrees, because above that you're taking a chance on damaging your plastics, warping, and even causing some glossy effect. So remember, as you're doing this, you just want to kind of take a look and check the temperatures and make sure they're under 220 degrees. Another thing is you want to make sure you do this in a slow, methodical fashion. Don't hold the heat gun in one spot just repeatedly, because it's going to quickly get over 260 degrees. You just want to slowly move it around in that pattern. So let's get started and we'll see how it turns out. Now remember, I would advise against using an open flame until you get really good at this. Once you've done it 3 or 4 times, you'll understand the principle and how easy it really is to do it. So just do it slowly and take your time. Now again, whatever type of heat gun you're using, just make sure you have 2 settings. This one has 1, 2. We want to make sure we do this on the lowest setting to begin with so we get used to the process. Now another thing you want to do is you don't want to hold it right up above the plastics. You want to keep it about 4 to 5 inches away from it when you begin, and as you get more skilled with this, you can move it a little bit closer, but don't have it right up against it, because you definitely will do more damage to the plastic. So even when you're really experienced at this, you still want it to be at least 2 inches away, but start about 4 to 5 to begin with. I wanted to stop for a minute and check my temperature. Well, let's see what the temperature is there. 220 degrees exactly. I don't know if you can see that. Let me pull it a little closer to the camera. And the first test was around 220. Now the temperature is quickly dropping, but as you can see, it's already started to change the color. And what you're doing is you're bringing out the oil. This is a petroleum-based product, and so this plastic, when it's heated, it brings those oils back to the surface as the way it looked when it was new. Okay, let's take another temperature check. And it was a little bit over 220, but not much. And you probably hear the fan running. I've got the fan running to blow any possible fumes away from the area so I'm working. So it's really important that you do that. Don't do this inside. Only do this in an open outside area, away from any combustible materials like gasoline or anything else. And just make sure you have your fan, a nice strong fan running. Starting to cool down a little bit, still 184. So anyways, we're going to work our way across, and we're about, it's taken about 5 minutes to get this far, and that's about 10 to 15% of our bumper. So let's work our way across. Now, rather than have a 30-minute video, I'm just going to do this little section right here in real time so you can see how quickly this process goes. Now that was real time of about 1 minute, so you can see it did this area right here in literally 60 seconds. So we're going to work our way across the rest. We'll have to move our aluminum shield here, take our tape off, and just work our way across. But as you can see, you need to be very methodical and take your time. And anytime you have any kind of little dips like this or any unusual patterns, just take your time and work your way around whatever type of piece of plastic you have. And just remember, at all costs, protect your paints however you can through either various tapes or aluminum shields like this. As you can see, it makes a huge difference. It looks like Showroom new. It looks like that in person, and I'm not sure exactly how it looks on video, but it looks really, really good. I've used all sorts of protectants from Armor All to Meguiar's, lower cost items, higher cost products, but within about a day or two, it just goes back to looking faded. So this is one of those things that will last for a long time. But will it fade back again? If you park outside, yes, the UV rays will eventually fade it again. But one thing you can do to prevent that is about 3 or 4 times a year, if you'll treat it, not heat it, but if you'll treat it with a very high quality UV protectant specifically designed for plastics and trim like that, it will not fade near as quickly, and you can go years in between each one of these treatments. But as you can see, you could do this in just a couple of, maybe an hour, maybe an hour and a half, depending how much plastic trim you have on your vehicle. The main thing is you just want to make sure you protect your paint and take your time, and make sure you keep the heat gun moving. Like I said, you can use a torch, but I think that requires a little bit more expertise, and you can damage the plastics a lot quicker. So a heat gun gives you steady, solid heat over a long period of time, and you don't have to worry about an open flame around a gasoline-powered vehicle. So I want to head off a couple of questions that I'm sure are going to get asked. Could you use a hairdryer to do this? No, you couldn't use a hairdryer. A hairdryer I don't think would get hot enough. And if you could get the hairdryer hot enough, I think you would wear out the motor and the heater element in the hairdryer before you'd get this done in an entire vehicle. So a heat gun is the way to go. And heat guns are not expensive. I'll put a link in the description. One, you can use it over and over. Literally for this kind of process, it would be a lifelong heat gun because you'd only be using it maybe a couple of hours every 6 months to a year, depending on how many vehicles you're working with. The other question that many people are going to ask me is, could this damage your plastics? Of course it could. If you hold the heat gun in one place too long, you could warp it, and at the worst case scenario, you could set it on fire. So remember, start off slowly, keep it 4 to 5 inches away, and then slowly move it closer as you get more comfortable. Once you get the hang of it, you'll see this is super easy, and it's not dangerous if you pay attention to what you're doing. So just keep the heat gun moving. That's the best piece of advice I can give you. Now, as far as safety precautions, I had my fan blowing on me the whole time, blowing any fumes away. Never ever do this inside. So if it's a rainy day or an extremely cold day, just wait till it warms up a little bit, and then you can take your vehicle outside and you can safely do that. So in just a sec, we're going to remove half of this and do a little bit of a comparison look at what it looks like before and after. All right, before we move to the right side, we're going to carefully remove our aluminum panel. And it is quite warm, but I'll let it cool down a little bit. Sorry about the noise of the fan. I know it's really going loud. As you can see, there's a little bit of burn marks on the tape, but nothing major. But as you can see, a little bit of the sticky is left behind, but it's no biggie. You can just rub it off there. It's melted, but as you can see, when you rub back and forth, the sticky powder comes right off, or the sticky glue that melted, no problem. And we're going to take this off as well. If you do find that it left some residue, if there's some glue that melted, you can take a scouring pad and just lightly, ever so lightly, go over your paint. Don't do it too strong. Don't use anything like sandpaper. And just do that, and you'll find that that little bit of glue that it left behind comes right off with some soap and water. So there you go. You can see there's a huge difference between the old side and the side that I've treated with the heat. Still a little bit warm, but it's cooling down. I've got the fan running across it. No warpage, no problems, no melting. It just looks 100 times better than the old side, which was quite faded from UV damage. So guys, if you're proficient with a torch, whether it's a kitchen torch or one of the larger ones, it works even faster. Let's take a quick look at just doing one of these little areas with my kitchen torch. Now I will say with this kitchen torch, I was able to do the right side. I just went ahead and finished the whole right side in a matter of minutes, where it took maybe about 15 to 20 minutes to do the left side because I was taking my time with the heat gun, and it took a little bit longer to get the plastic to the proper temperature. But with the kitchen torch, it works so much faster. So I'd say you could do it 2 to 3 times faster with the kitchen torch, but you have to be much more careful around the paint and put 2 or 3, maybe even 4 layers of tape if you don't have an aluminum shield, because you want to make sure you protect your paint, because you're going to be heating up the paint and the plastic at the same time if you're not careful. So I wanted to give you a close-up of the plastic there. It's cooled down, still warm to the touch, but as you can see, it worked really great. I think it's really close to showroom. There's a few pit scuffs and things like that where I put heavy items on here, but as far as what Armor All would do, or Meguiar's, or any of the other protectants or revivers that would do, yeah, they'll fade in, like I said, 24 to 48 hours, and it goes back to looking the way it did before. So if you want something that's going to last up to a year, do this and then put the protectant on it, because if you keep putting UV protectant on it about every 3 to 6 months, it could stay looking like this for multiple years. So guys, that is one of my favorite auto detailing tricks. It really makes a huge difference on an older car. That vehicle is 12 years old, but it has extremely low miles on it, so I hate to sell it or get rid of it. It's just a great vehicle. So if you have any questions about this video or any previous video, I hope you'll become a public subscriber first. I tend to put those questions at the very front of the line. I try to answer everybody's questions, but when you get 100 to 300 questions a day, it's nearly impossible. Also, I've got a Patreon, so if you want added or extra content or early release content, or content that may never appear on YouTube, take a look at that, and have a lot of free PDFs, so you don't even have to be a paying member to get those. So guys, I really appreciate you watching. Have a great day.